Welcome back to Aaron's Games. I'm Aaron. Let's talk about some games. Getting better. This week I want to talk to you about an awesome game which I've played for many number of years, and it's got a new cool feature. That game is Fiasco, and this is the new board boxed edition of the game. Previously it was a book, and I don't have the book unfortunately, but I bought the PDF ages and ages ago. And basically, Fiasco is a game where a group of people, 3 to 5 people, get together and tell a story together. And with the help of, in the original game, you use up to 20 dice. You have lists of elements that you can include, and you use the dice when you've rolled them to pick which elements are going to be used, and then you all work together to build that into a coherent story all together. And the whole idea of the game, the reason it's called Fiasco, is because it's inspired by films like Fargo and No Country for Old Men, where things gradually go wrong. There's a series of bad decisions, greed, poor ethics, that's the one, all kind of build together to make a horrible situation. And that's basically what you're aiming for in Fiasco. So previously, the first one I ever played was a film noir themed, because I love film noir, and it was set in like 1926 in Los Angeles, and there were 3 of us playing. It was my birthday and we all got very drunk, and it revolved around this heist which was taking place on a safe in a nightclub, and gradually it got worse and worse. Someone died, and I think the person who was trying to get into the safe actually did get into the safe and stole all the money, but then got caught up by the crime boss, and then the crime boss's boss, and then the boss of that boss, and it was hilarious. Basically anything can happen. You keep adding ideas into the story, and it makes an amazing thing. Another one we played was set in this big scary house, and the house that has a dark secret, and it turned out that it was like a weird like flashbacks to Vietnam War type situation, and there was this potion which could make people live forever, and one person lived forever but had to live with the consequences of what he'd done forever and ever, and it was horrible but amazing. And then we did one which was set on a space station, and we were all trying to escape from this alien which was slowly taking over the ship, and there was a countdown to black hole happening, and then we actually went into it wasn't a black hole, it was a white hole. We actually went into the white hole and landed in a parallel dimension. It was so funny. And then I did one for Halloween, which is so cool because I got like strobe lights and stuff because I like going all out. And it was set in, it was like a 1950s B-movie style. And this one was about, again, like a potion that could let people live forever. And there was a moment where one of the players was having a dinner party, and he was like a vampire and could live forever. And then he accidentally fell into a fireplace, and in the scenes that you get, you either decide what the scene is and everyone else gets to decide if it goes well or not, or everyone else decides what the scene is and you get to decide whether it goes well or not. In the improvised dialogue, he fell into the fireplace. We decided, the other 2 of us decided that it should go well, so he pulled himself out of the fireplace, convinced everyone that it was like special effects, and he was fine. It was very bizarre. But the reason that I'm here is to talk about this new board game version, boxed version of it, because it changes the mechanics slightly, and makes it into more of a card game in a way. So we're going to have a look at what's in the box, and I'll talk about it a bit more. Now, I don't know why I was like as if I was introducing another part of the video, like, oh, watch these adverts. Da, 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 da. Buy our stuff. I have no idea what I'm saying. Fiasco, the boxed version, came on Kickstarter last year, in about September, I think it was, and as soon as it popped up, I was like, yes, I need to get involved with that. So I chucked my money at it, and I've only just received it, and look at it. I love the overall aesthetic of the game anyway, but it looks great, don't you think? I love the like red, hence I'm wearing red, and then we've got the red lights. There's Bully Pulpit Games there. You can just about see the logo here. So we're going to take a look inside the box. I've already had a look inside the box, so it's not a surprise for me. It'll be a surprise for you guys if you haven't kickstarted it. If you've kickstarted it and you've got it, hooray, Fiasco buddies. Get a nice rules book. It works with cards now, where you never had cards before, you just write everything down. It's got cards now, so it explains how that works. Then you get this nice kind of very understated board. So nice and simple, not too ridiculous, and easy to follow. So generally you've got your positives here, you've got your negatives here, and then you've got your aftermath, which determines how your stories end. I just realised I forgot to tell you about another Fiasco. I'll tell you about it at the end. You also get a link to be able to play Fiasco on Roll20, because obviously at the moment everything's locked down, and we can't go anywhere or see any of our friends or have any games nights. But you can play Fiasco via Roll20 using their nifty cards mechanics that you have. You can buy it if you want to buy it on Roll20, and I highly recommend you do, even though I've not played it via Roll20. I'm sure it'll be great. So inside the box we've got 4 decks of cards here. I don't know if you can see them very well, the lights are quite direct. The main one being the engine deck. The engine deck, let's talk about the engine deck. Let's have a quick look inside, because I've actually not opened these boxes yet. So you've got the engine deck here. It's got various cards in it which make the game work. So we've got the aftermath totals. These are what tell you what your end of your story is going to be like. So generally speaking, the lower the number, the worse your story ends. So if you've got like 0, for example, there's a bit on the back which tells you how your story ends. And yeah, that's pretty bad. We've had a couple of 0s in the Fiascos that I've played, and it's not a game that you're aiming to win. It's a game that you're enjoying the bad of it. So like, if you get a really bad outcome, that's great, because it's way more fun to roleplay a bad outcome. And there's also good outcomes with the blue numbers as well. And then we have positive outcomes. So you've got those, and then you've got the negative outcomes. So those tell you how your scene, in your scene, how it's going to end. And then we've got a Let's Not card, which is actually a really cool addition. Because Fiasco is designed to be dark, it can be quite intense in places. Certainly the games that I've played have been pretty horrific in places. We had someone who was caught in a fire and it didn't end well. Let's just put it that way without being too graphic. It was really graphic in the game. Yeah, it can be quite intense of a game. So the Let's Not card is if someone isn't really comfortable going into detail in that area. So if it's something really horrific, they might not be able to handle it, and they can just say Let's Not, which is and you kind of backpedal a little bit and change the way you're describing it. Maybe don't go into too much detail, too much visceral detail, and everyone has a great time. That said, if you have players who don't have those, I'm not trying to be horrible here, but if you have players who are like very open-minded and can distance themselves from the game and you're willing to go into that visceral detail, it's really horrible but really enjoyable too, and often really funny. It sounds weird, but like things going wrong is hilarious, and that's the point of the game. It is a really fun time. And then it also comes with 3 play sets, which is really good actually, considering that they're all consisting of card decks. 3 play sets here. So we've got Poppleton Mall, which is a shopping centre, kind of like Starcourt in Stranger Things, or Brent Cross. If you're from the UK, you'll know what Brent Cross is. Lakeside, big shopping centre type American mall area, because it's called a mall, literally. There's elements of a cult being involved with this one, so far as I can gather. I watched a bit of a playthrough when they were doing the Kickstarter. They had a live playthrough, and I watched a bit of that. And they were playing with this playset, and it was set at Christmas. Involved like a weird cult. I didn't actually end up finishing it, more to the pity, unfortunately. I'll just open this with the patented rub technique, which isn't working now. Wow, struggling to open a deck of cards. Well done, Aaron. Great times. Ah! It eludes me. Let's the bite. Yeah, that'll do it. Within these decks, you get a kind of little boilerplate, which tells you who wrote it, which is really cool. Jason Morningstar is the creator of the game, and he writes a lot of these playsets as well. And you can make your own playsets. If you've got an idea, then you can make your own. And there's actually 2 Fiascos that I haven't told you about, because I did write my own one, and I'll talk about that at the end as well. Woo! And then you get like all these element cards. So we've got some relationships here. These are connections between 2 players in the game. Some needs, so that tells you what sort of thing the game is going to revolve around. And then further in the back we've got some objects, more elements to play with. Interestingly, you've also got some names on the back of the cards. So if you're struggling to think of a name for your character, which I often do, then you've got some names plumbed into the book to cards, which is pretty cool. Then we've got locations cards as well, so that tells you, like, these ones are all the different shops and places in the mall available to you. And then actually it does include some blank cards as well, which is really neat, so you can write your own in there and add your own elements to the game. I like that, that's nice. I didn't know they were going to do that. We've also got Tales from Suburbia, which is here. It's a nice town full of nice people, kind of Desperate Housewives type situation, I guess, like a weird positive area, but obviously there's going to be a darker side to it. So yeah, like it talks about lots of things happen here, things requiring antibiotics and things dusted with cocaine, and occasionally, just occasionally, things spattered in blood. So obviously all of these playsets are geared up to the darker side of the story. You'll have the overtones of a good area, and then the dark stuff will happen. The elements that you get are just kind of the foundations, and then you build on them, and weird things happen in a great way. And then finally, probably one of the coolest ones, the Dragon Slayers playset, which it seems to me like it's quite Dungeons and Dragons-y. I don't know if you know, but I quite like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, so this one talks about adventurers and things like that, so I imagine that'll be really cool for people who are into Dungeons and Dragons. Pretty nifty little game as a box set. I'm looking forward to when the rules are relaxed and we can play Fiascos again. One of my traditions, or attempted traditions, is to have a Fiasco for my birthday every year. And so I try and have one on my birthday, or around my birthday, and one for Halloween, because Halloween is just perfect for a Fiasco. I had one planned for my birthday this year, and it was going to be Wild West, and unfortunately it couldn't happen because it was just after the lockdown happened, and I could have played via Roll20 or Zoom or something like that, but I don't know if it would have the same energy for me. I really like rolling the dice and being able to pick out the dice and having that face-to-face interaction. But as I say, I've seen it played by Roll20 and it's been really successful, so I might give it a go at some point because it is a great game and it's really worth it. So I try to have one every birthday and try to have one every Halloween. So that's it. That's the boxed version of Fiasco. As I say, really recommend it. It's on its way. It's only just got to me via Kickstarter, but I believe you can order it now for it to be shipped to you pretty quick, and it's not too expensive as well. Like, although I got it via Kickstarter, I don't think it's going to be actually that expensive in itself. If you're put off by the price of a boxed game like this, then you can get it in book form. As I say, it originally was a book, and it's a really, really good book, really interesting, delving into the mechanics of the game, how it all works. It's got like example playthroughs and things like that. You understand it more when you play it, so the fact that it's got like annotated playthroughs in the book is really, really cool. Or if you want to save the planet, or you can't quite afford a book, because that's the situation I was in, you can buy the PDF, which is cheaper, and you get it digitally, and you can then print like some of the pages. Like, I printed out a few of the tables that are in the book. They're really handy to have in like paper form. So there's loads of different ways that you can play it. And the coolest thing, which I really enjoy, is that there is a whole library of playsets. So the original book comes with 4 playsets. Obviously this box comes with 3. There's a whole library of other playsets that you can download. So people have been able to write their own. Some of them have been written as part of competitions to write the playsets, and they've obviously been selected by the creators of the game. And there was actually like a second book released which had, I think it was like 10 extra playsets and a few more advanced rules. Some of the playsets themselves introduce advanced rules. So I mentioned earlier about when we were playing the white hole playset, that had like a countdown mechanic for when the white hole was going to hit, or when the ship was going to be fully sucked into the white hole. Using one of the dice that you roll, it changes the way the game works. There's another one which I'm planning, or was planning for Halloween, which has like a hidden secret mechanic. So on top of everything that's going on with the characters messing around with their dark stories and stuff, the scenario itself has a weird secret that you eventually uncover, and it gives you tips on how that comes about. So that's really cool. I'm really excited to play that if I can ever have my friends in the same room as me ever again. Woo, what a dark note. Perfect for Fiasco. Oh, I was going to tell you about the other 2 Fiascos that I forgot to tell you about earlier. When I moved into this place that I live now, it was basically empty, and I was like, oh cool, let's have a housewarming party. So I had a Fiasco, and I put like fairground bunting and festoon lights, multicolored festoon lights, because we were going to play a haunted carnival Fiasco, and that was the only time I've ever played Fiasco with 5 players. All the other times I've played it's been with 3. It's so much better with 5 players because the game lasts longer and you get more things going wrong in between everyone. It was set around this carnival. I played the owner of the carnival. My friend played the owner of a rival carnival. And it was great. There was all kinds of weird things happen. There was a huge fire. Someone got caught in the fire. There was a lot of very bad outcomes for a lot of people, but it was so much fun. And I got to wear a top hat. You can't complain when you get to wear a top hat. The other one was one that I made myself based on the Tower of Terror in Florida, which is my all-time #1 favourite ride in the world. It's amazing. If you know what it is, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what it is, ah, poor you. But I wrote a whole Fiasco playset based on that ride and its rich theme of this abandoned hotel in 1930s Hollywood. And so we wrote a whole playset based on that. When we played it, we actually, it was horrible, as you would expect, but we actually improvised the origin story of the haunted nature of the tower anyway. Turns out that there was some kind of curse which befell the tower, and that was why the events that happened in the ride happened. So we ended up playing a prequel to the ride, which was oh so awesome. But yeah, that's what happens. Anything can happen in the game, and it's great fun. It's a bad time in a really good way. Things go wrong hilariously, and in fact the game itself says a game about powerful ambition and poor impulse control. Those are the words I should have found earlier. There we are. I really recommend you play Fiasco. Check it out if you haven't already, and if you have played it, tell me in the comments some memorable stories that you've had while playing it. I have some fantastic memories of the Fiascos that I've played, but I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are if you've ever played Fiasco and have some great stories. Check it out. Find the link to the Fiasco page on Bully Pulpit Games website down here. You can follow the creator on Twitter, Jason Morningstar, and you can also follow Bully Pulpit. Oh, damn pointing. Follow Bully Pulpit on Twitter because they release a lot of games as well, and it's really worth a look into what they do. And that's about it for this video because it's quite long now. I'm talking about one game, one very awesome game. Really check it out, do. So that's the end of this video. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed what you saw, give me a like, put a comment, press subscribe. You can also, oh damn pointing, follow me on Twitter down here. There it is. You can also, this is a link to the YouTube channel if you're watching this somewhere other than YouTube. Go straight to the YouTube channel with this weirdly pointed out link, and that's it. It's me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye.